It was a sunny September afternoon, during my senior year of high school, when I first met Stephanie. She was my best friend Jason's new girlfriend, and they had been together for about a month. They'd met at a local coffee shop, a setting Jason rarely frequented, which made their meeting feel even more serendipitous. Jason couldn't stop talking about her. She wasn't his usual type. While he was into football games and blasting hip-hop, Stephanie was all about painting, writing poetry, and indie music. Despite their differences, I could see how much Stephanie fascinated him. When I finally met her, it made sense. Stephanie had this vibrant energy, a spark of creativity that seemed to complement Jason's straightforward, athletic demeanor. It was clear they adored each other, even if their interests didn't align. Their connection wasn't about shared hobbies. It was about chemistry and the balance they brought to each other's lives. For the first few months of their relationship, I saw how much Jason grew with her by his side. He seemed happier and more confident, like he had finally found someone who truly understood him. It was refreshing to witness. But halfway through senior year, everything changed. Stephanie told Jason she was pregnant. The news hit Jason hard. He panicked, overwhelmed by the prospect of balancing parenthood, school, and life itself at such a young age. Stephanie, on the other hand, remained calm and composed. Her practical nature helped Jason find his footing as they both came to terms with the situation. With the support of their families, they decided to marry after graduation and face the challenge together. Their choice was brave, and I admired their resolve. I watched them grow from carefree teenagers into young adults willing to take responsibility for their new reality. It was a transformation that stuck with me, even as my own life took a different path. After high school, I enlisted in the Army, serving 6 years before an injury forced me to retire. From there, life led me down a road I never could have anticipated, one filled with love, betrayal, and lessons I'll carry forever. Life after high school was a whirlwind. While Jason and Stephanie were navigating early parenthood and marriage, I enlisted in the Army. The years I spent serving shaped me in ways I never expected. The structure and discipline of military life molded me into someone stronger, more resilient. But after 6 years, a persistent knee injury brought my career to an early end. The GI Bill gave me a second chance to build a new path through education, so I returned home and started college. It was there I met Amanda. She was everything I wasn't, extroverted, lively, and unafraid to take risks. I was cautious and introverted, but Amanda brought me out of my shell. Her spontaneity added color to my life, while my steady nature gave her a sense of stability. We seemed to balance each other perfectly. While I was in college, I took a job that required frequent travel. Amanda didn't mind. She used the time to explore her own interests, taking art classes, spending time with friends, and throwing herself into her hobbies. It felt like a good arrangement. After graduation, I was promoted to a management role with the same company. The position came with more responsibility, longer trips, but also a significant raise. I was thrilled to provide Amanda with the life I thought she deserved. Over the next 6 years, our relationship flourished, or so I believed. We built a life together filled with laughter, adventure, and shared dreams. I made it a point to show her how much I valued her. Romantic getaways, surprise trips, candlelit dinners, I went all out, determined to make her feel cherished. But beneath the surface, something was wrong. 3 months before our wedding, it all unraveled. Late one night, I noticed Amanda's phone light up with a text message from Stephanie. The message read, "Have you told your fiancé about your fling with your ex? If you don't, I will." The ground beneath me seemed to vanish. My heart pounded as I read those words over and over, trying to make sense of them. When I confronted Amanda, she tried to laugh it off, claiming Stephanie was stirring up drama. But I pressed her until the truth spilled out. At her bachelorette party, Amanda had gotten drunk and slept with her ex-boyfriend. She swore it was a mistake, begged for forgiveness, and promised it meant nothing. I was shattered. The woman I had planned to spend my life with had betrayed me. I needed time to process, but my mind wouldn't stop racing. How did Stephanie even know? Was this really just a one-time mistake? Unable to sleep, I looked through Amanda's phone, and what I found confirmed my worst fears. This wasn't an isolated incident. Explicit messages and photos revealed an ongoing affair that stretched back to the start of our relationship. The betrayal ran deeper than I ever imagined. The woman I loved, who I thought I knew so well, had been living a double life. I saved the evidence to my phone, my hands trembling with anger and heartbreak. The next morning, I ended our engagement. Amanda begged me not to go, swearing her love for me, but trust, once broken, cannot be repaired with words alone. Leaving was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. I had to cancel wedding plans, notify guests, and explain why everything was off. The whispers and pity from others were almost unbearable. Amanda, of course, tried to paint me as the bad guy, but I stayed focused on the truth. Stephanie reached out to me shortly after, explaining how she discovered the affair. She had caught Amanda and her ex together during the bachelorette weekend and gave her the ultimatum: confess or be exposed. I was grateful for Stephanie's honesty, even if it came at such a painful cost. Jason stood by me too, offering unwavering support when I needed it most. Then came the question of the honeymoon. I had planned an extravagant trip to Fiji, Amanda's dream destination. The non-refundable reservations made the thought of wasting that trip unbearable. So, I called Jason and offered it to him and Stephanie. They had been through so much over the years, raising their daughter and putting their relationship on the back burner. It felt right to give them this opportunity. Jason was hesitant at first, but I insisted. Why let something beautiful go to waste? They accepted with gratitude, and it gave me a small sense of peace knowing something good could come from the chaos. Amanda, on the other hand, was furious when she found out. She left me hateful messages, blaming me for her ruined life. Even her ex tried to intimidate me, but I blocked them both. I had no room in my life for their toxicity. Shortly after, a work opportunity overseas presented itself. A month-long contract in a new environment was exactly what I needed to clear my head and begin healing. Before I left, I made one last statement to Amanda and her circle, the truth about her lies and betrayal. I let her deal with the fallout while I focused on moving forward. The work trip overseas was a much-needed escape. Being far from home gave me the clarity to process everything that had happened. Yet, life back home didn't stop moving, and the aftermath of Amanda's actions began to spiral out of control. A week after I left, Amanda showed up at Stephanie's house in the middle of the night. Drunk and enraged, she pounded on the door, screaming for the Fiji itinerary. When Stephanie refused to engage, Amanda lashed out, hurling insults and eventually becoming physically aggressive. Luckily, Stephanie's doorbell camera caught the entire outburst on video. The police arrived soon after and arrested Amanda for her behavior. The most shocking part? During her meltdown, Amanda openly admitted she had never truly loved me. She said, without hesitation, that she had only been with me for financial stability. Stephanie shared the video with me while I was still abroad. Watching Amanda's true colors on display hurt, but it also brought a strange sense of closure. When the video went public, everything changed. Friends and family who had initially taken Amanda's side began reaching out to apologize. They hadn't realized the depth of her betrayal until the footage revealed her manipulative nature. As for Amanda's ex, the one who had threatened me, he took things a step further. He showed up at my house while I was away, attempting to break in. Thankfully, my security cameras caught him in the act, and the footage led to his arrest. In the midst of all this chaos, Jason and Stephanie left for their Fiji trip. Seeing photos of them enjoying the crystal-clear waters, candlelit dinners, and time as a couple made the decision feel worthwhile. They had supported me during my darkest hours, and I was glad to give them a chance to reconnect. Back at home, Amanda's life continued to unravel. Her reckless behavior cost her the support of many friends and family members. Unable to find work in our town, where her reputation was now ruined, she packed her things and moved across the country. Through the grapevine, I heard she had quickly latched onto another man, calling him her soulmate. People like Amanda don't change, I realized. They just find new victims. Meanwhile, I took this opportunity to focus on my own healing. I started seeing a therapist to work through the anger and grief left behind by Amanda's betrayal. For the first time in years, I felt like I was truly prioritizing myself. I also scheduled full STI testing, which thankfully came back clean, a small but crucial relief in the wake of everything. While the healing process wasn't easy, the distance gave me perspective. Amanda's lies and infidelity weren't a reflection of my worth, but of her inability to value honesty and loyalty. I began to feel lighter, as though the weight of her betrayal was no longer something I needed to carry. In time, I reconnected with old passions. I formed an 80s cover band with some friends and started performing at local venues. Music became an outlet for my emotions, a way to channel the pain into something meaningful. My career also took off. I transitioned from my job to launching my own freelance digital marketing business, which gave me the freedom to work remotely and travel, two things I'd always dreamed of. As I built a new life, I found myself cautiously open to the idea of love again. That's when I met Grace. From the moment we started talking, everything felt different. Grace was kind, honest, and grounded, everything Amanda wasn't. Where Amanda had been secretive and manipulative, Grace was transparent and supportive. For the first time, I felt like I could trust someone completely. Jason and Stephanie, now closer than ever after their trip, encouraged me to take things slow with Grace. Their friendship had been my rock through all of this, and I valued their advice. Watching them thrive as a couple reminded me that real love isn't built on grand gestures or surface-level attraction, but on mutual respect and trust. By the time Amanda's drama faded into the background, I had finally begun to feel at peace. The pain she caused was a chapter of my life, but it didn't define me. I had learned to focus my energy on relationships and pursuits that brought me joy and fulfillment. For the first time in years, I felt free. Nearly a year has passed since my engagement to Amanda ended. In some ways, it feels like a lifetime ago. In others, the memories are still vivid. But what I've come to realize is that those painful experiences helped shape me into someone stronger and more self-aware. Jason and Stephanie remain a constant source of support. Their bond, tested and strengthened by years of challenges, inspires me. The trip to Fiji turned out to be exactly what they needed, a chance to reconnect and rediscover their love for each other. Seeing how happy they were when they returned warmed my heart. Stephanie even told me that the memories they made on that trip would stay with them forever, and for that, I'm grateful. As for Amanda, she's no longer a part of my story. The fallout from her actions led her far from the life we had once planned together. The anger I once felt has faded into indifference. I see now that walking away from her wasn't just the right choice, it was necessary for my growth. Grace and I continue to grow closer, and every day, I'm reminded of how different love can feel when it's built on honesty and respect. She's brought a sense of peace into my life that I never thought I'd find again. For the first time, I'm excited about the future, both with her and in my own pursuits. My freelance business is thriving, and the flexibility it provides has allowed me to prioritize the things that truly matter. Music has become a big part of my life again, and performing with my 80s cover band has been an unexpected source of joy. I've even started planning trips to explore new places, something I've always dreamed of but never allowed myself to pursue. Looking back, I realized that Amanda's betrayal, as devastating as it was, didn't define me. It was just one chapter in a much larger story. The people who stood by me, Jason, Stephanie, and now Grace, reminded me of the power of loyalty, kindness, and love. Life moves forward, often in ways we don't expect. And while some chapters close in heartbreak, others open with the promise of healing and hope. I'm grateful for where I am now, and for the lessons I've learned along the way. Conclusion: nearly a year has passed since my engagement to Amanda ended. In some ways, it feels like a lifetime ago. In others, the memories are still vivid. But what I've come to realize is that those painful experiences helped shape me into someone stronger and more self-aware. Jason and Stephanie remain a constant source of support. Their bond, tested and strengthened by years of challenges, inspires me. The trip to Fiji turned out to be exactly what they needed, a chance to reconnect and rediscover their love for each other. Seeing how happy they were when they returned warmed my heart. Stephanie even told me that the memories they made on that trip would stay with them forever, and for that, I'm grateful. As for Amanda, she's no longer a part of my story. The fallout from her actions led her far from the life we had once planned together. The anger I once felt has faded into indifference. I see now that walking away from her wasn't just the right choice, it was necessary for my growth. Grace and I continue to grow closer, and every day, I'm reminded of how different love can feel when it's built on honesty and respect. She's brought a sense of peace into my life that I never thought I'd find again. For the first time, I'm excited about the future, both with her and in my own pursuits. My freelance business is thriving, and the flexibility it provides has allowed me to prioritize the things that truly matter. Music has become a big part of my life again, and performing with my 80s cover band has been an unexpected source of joy. I've even started planning trips to explore new places, something I've always dreamed of but never allowed myself to pursue. Looking back, I realized that Amanda's betrayal, as devastating as it was, didn't define me. It was just one chapter in a much larger story. The people who stood by me, Jason, Stephanie, and now Grace, reminded me of the power of loyalty, kindness, and love. Life moves forward, often in ways we don't expect. And while some chapters close in heartbreak, others open with the promise of healing and hope. I'm grateful for where I am now, and for the lessons I've learned along the way. If you're navigating betrayal or heartbreak, know that healing takes time, but it is possible. Focus on rebuilding yourself, leaning on those who love you, and finding joy in the little things. Thank you for following my journey. If you found something in my story that resonates with you, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for more reflections and advice. Together, we'll navigate life's twists and turns, one step at a time.